There was a report that came out from Mark Stein that James Harden is open to a relocation.
Yo, that is so funny.
He has not signed with the Nets long term yet. He turned down a lucrative contract extension in October. Do you think James Harden is going to stay with the Brooklyn Nets? You're a Brooklyn fan. What's your gut feeling?
Well, I tweeted about 2 months ago that I was kind of eerie on if James Harden was really committed to the Brooklyn Nets long term. And the fan in me wanted to hate him for that. But then when you put your when you really put yourself in James Harden's shoes and you really look at the problem from like basically his lens, he's dealing first year they get to the playoffs. Unfortunately, he gets hurt, and I'm pretty sure everybody here can agree that was probably their best chance to win a title. Like that year was their best.
You guys lost to Big Giannis?
The year that we got hurt
last year?
Yeah, last year.
Oh.
That was our.
Oh, I thought he said it like
I know.
4 years
That's
ago.
No. Yeah, last year was our best. Our opportunity to win. Obviously, injuries happened. We couldn't get it done. So that's 1 year already wasted.
If, ands, and buts.
Wait, it's not facts. They got injured though.
No, I did. I'm just
saying.
saying.
You're saying the if is we could have won. Yeah, that's the if maybe.
No, but I mean, if y'all two are smart people, you don't think the big three.
I don't know.
I'm being a bastard.
No. I know you're smart enough.
Exactly.
Sit here, and really think about it. If Brooklyn really had a healthy
why
team.
do I need to think about an if? Why? Like why? I don't.
Because that's tying in with the point.
You said facts, right? What is the facts? The Bucks won the chip.
They won the chip, but I'm saying this is all tying into my point. James Harden got hurt and Kyrie Irving was hurt. It was unfortunate. That's why I think the Bucks capitalized and they won. I'm not saying that
Harden went 2 for 14 in that game 7. I'm asking.
He was on a grade too.
That's
but the Lakers suck. Stop talking.
Whoa. We're talking about the Nets.
Yeah,
Come
I was
on
about to say now you're trying to violate.
I'm not violating.
Yo, why'd y'all lose last year? What'd you just say in the last thing?
What are you
injuries
talking about?
Injuries though, right? No, but it's a fact though.
AD didn't return. Harden came back.
And LeBron was on a bad ankle, right?
He did.
That's why
y'all
lost because injuries. I bet.
Nah, it's not.
That's why y'all lost.
It's one of the reasons.
Keep it a G. So, anyways,
Harden went 2 for 14.
He was hurt, but okay.
He missed jump shots.
He was hurt.
Missing jumpers.
Right,
come on now.
I'm off that, bro.
I think it was like 1 for 9.
I'm off that.
Let me look. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
You tormenting a guy who's on a grade 2 hamstring.
I'm not
injury.
tormenting. I'm just stating facts. That's
Say the facts that he was hurt then.
I said he was hurt for sure.
He was on a grade 2 hamstring.
He was on a grade 2 hamstring, but missing jumpers and like front rim every time.
Your legs had a lot to do with your jump shot.
I get it.
Yo, he is
for
crazy.
Sure.
All right, but anyways, so I mean,
wide open jumpers.
With Kyrie Irving,
James Harden.
with Kyrie Irving this year with his vaccination status as well, he's missed a lot of games, and then you just look at it from the lens of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving has a championship, and he seems that he doesn't really care about adding to his legacy. If I'm being honest with you, he's good with whatever. he's on his type of time. Kevin Durant, although people kill him for those 2 championships, at the end of the day, he has 2 titles, 2 Finals MVPs. James Harden's the lone one out of the big 3 to really have a championship. And if you put yourself in his shoes with all this turmoil going on in Brooklyn, all these injuries and just the misfortune of last year and even this year, because the same thing could happen this year, James Harden has to start thinking about his career and his place in NBA history. And it's either James Harden goes down as one of the best players with no championship, or it's either James Harden elevates himself to probably honestly a top 3 shooting guard of all time. Because I think a championship, if he has a championship, I think we can have that debate if he has a title. I do. The sustained dominance and everything that James Harden has showed throughout his career, it's nothing short of stellar. But if I'm putting myself in James Harden's shoes, I mean, you have an erratic Kyrie Irving who you don't know what you're gonna get from him. He's not even, you don't know if he's gonna play another home game. I mean, this year, recently he just stated on an interview after the game is like, yo, like I'm gonna do what I want to do, like, and I'm not playing home games. I'm not getting vaccinated. He did, but
damn good game.
James Harden is thinking about James Harden for the first time, and it's right. He was loyal to a Houston team for 8 years. Obviously, unfortunately, they didn't get anything done, but he's played stellar, and right now he's ring chasing, and I'm fine with that because everybody else ring chases. So I think the only way James Harden comes back to Brooklyn is if they win, and if they don't, I wouldn't be mad if he left because I truly understand why he would want to leave.
As a Nets fan, if you don't win a championship, how disappointed will you be?
Very.
Can I go?
To say the least.
Go ahead, bro.
Wait, hold on. Huh? I gotta go.
Okay, do your thing. I'm gonna let the Harden Nets fan go, then I'm gonna go. Man, this is a lot.
Yo, this is so funny, man.
Yeah, do you think though? I really want to hear from you. What do you have to say?
I'll be honest. I love this idea. I love him being open to relocating. You brought up an excellent point, JC, in saying that Harden is thinking about himself.
Good.
He's not committing long term to the Nets. He's not settling. He wants a championship, and he's going to get it because he's going to make moves like this that put him in the best position to win a championship. I frankly don't love the Brooklyn fit when all three of them are on the court. They are dominant offensively, no doubt about it. I think Harden has to be the primary ball handler on the team. Also, know that you have the green light. When he has a KD and a Kyrie that he has to get involved, he's not Houston level Harden. He's not 34-8 level Harden. And he's been very passive, and Nets fans have been very vocal about their frustrations with that, but he's figuring out for the first time in his career how to be a true point guard while also mixing in his scoring prowess. In Brooklyn, he has not been the greatest scorer, greatest isolation scorer in NBA history. He hasn't been that, but that's who he is. But he hasn't been that. I love this idea because I think if he leaves Brooklyn, he's going to Philly.
That's a good move.
Right now, Daryl Morey is trying to move Ben and Tobias because I believe he wants to free up a spot for James Harden to go there. I'll say this about Philly. Basketball-wise, excellent fit. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if James Harden can handle Philly. I don't know if he can handle the city.
The talking?
I don't know if he can.
The city. Mm-hmm.
If he was struggling like this, which he's not even this is an off year for him, and he's as good as DeRozan, who's having the best year of his career.
As good as DeRozan is.
Hey, let him talk.
James Harden, if he was doing this on Philly, they would be eating him up right now. And I don't know if he can handle that and if he wants that pressure of that city. But I think him and Embiid, the pick and roll would be pure dominance, a thing of beauty. Having a center, now that he can play with that, wasn't past his prime because he played with Dwight Howard past his prime. Playing with a prime Embiid. Playing with Seth Curry, one of the better shooters in the league. Hopefully Matisse Thybulle can just get a jump shot because defensively, he's one of the best in the league. He can really make up for a lot of deficiencies. They would just have to get a forward, and I would love that team. Because right now, you'd be looking at a starting lineup of Maxey, Curry, Harden, Thybulle, and Embiid. I don't love that. So they'd have to make some extra moves. Harden would average 12-plus assists a game with Embiid in Philly. Like, easily. He'd lead the league in assists every single year he was in Philly. And that would be a great fit. Brooklyn right now is getting older. KD is 33. He gets injured. Kyrie is 29. He also has an injury history, but he also is very firm on his morals and values. And right now, unfortunately, we're in a time in the world where something grand is happening that is making people stick to their morals and values in the way that Kyrie is doing right now and not getting a vaccine. And that's his belief. Because of that, it just feels like this was wrong timing for the Brooklyn Nets. If they paired these three up together 3 years ago, this is the championship. There's no doubt. I think it was too little too late, and the timing was just off. And I think in large part due to the pandemic.
Damn. Well, first, let me start here. I do agree with you. I do think Philly is a great move for James Harden. You know, I think him and Embiid, like you said, that guard center duo would be amazing. You know, you still get Embiid in his prime. You know, you still get that, and then now Embiid can rest in the regular season. You know, he can stay healthy and then be locked in for the playoffs. I think keeping Seth Curry would be huge. Keeping Matisse, of course, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Keeping Maxey, his development is going to be huge for them. And obviously getting a four and maybe like a bench, that'd be good too because they're going to be thin. Now, for Brooklyn, it's just a lot of excuses, man. It's just a lot of excuses. I mean,
throwing in there.
like it's like, bro, how much more do you need? Like, oh my God, now you want to go. You played with the best scorer in the NBA, Kevin Durant. He played with.
Are you talking about Harden or the
Yeah, I'm
Nets?
talking about Harden.
Oh,
You played with Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? Before that, you played with Chris Paul. Granted, Houston, I'm not going to hold that. Houston just was great at the
They were
wrong
close.
time because Golden State was just dominant. That was just a bad timing for them, honestly. It really, because other than that, I don't think anybody else could have beat them in the West. They probably would have went, maybe could have beat LeBron. I don't know, but that's a story for another day. You go to Brooklyn. Kevin Durant's there. Kyrie Irving's there. You know what I'm saying? The first year, they play like 11. They play like 9 games together. They play 8-9 games together. So they've been dealing with injuries. Kyrie Irving's been dealing with
they
injuries.
played only 20.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm saying the first year. So
9
it's
games,
like
yeah.
9
games.
yeah, so like they go to the playoffs. We seen them for maybe 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. 2 games in Brooklyn, 1 game in Boston.
5.
In Boston, they were all healthy.
Yeah, so we
5
seen them
games.
against the Boston series. It was, granted, Boston, no Jaylen Brown, but it probably wouldn't have made a difference. They were incredible together. Aside from the 1 game, Jason Tatum had to go crazy. Then Kyrie gets hurt in the Bucks series. Harden gets hurt at the end of the Boston series. Harden comes back, but he's still hurt.
No, Harden was hurt game 1 of the Bucks series. Like
Oh,
the first
pardon me.
10
Harden
seconds.
gets
of the
hurt.
game.
Literally.
Yeah, that's why like Harden gets
first
hurt,
10.
then Kyrie gets hurt, Harden comes back. It's just been a lot of bad luck, but it's like at the same time, it's like, damn, bro, how many more chances are we going to keep giving this team? You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like you said, Kyrie's like it's like with big threes, you know, the one thing about big threes when they come together, ego's at the door. You keep the ego at the door. You guys come together. You're trying to win the championship. Like you said, James Harden hasn't found a way to fully be James Harden. Kevin Durant, he's looked like he's going to be Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving's been dealing with his morals and all that stuff. It's just like, damn, how many more things are going to just come in the way of Brooklyn? Like this was supposed to be, when they first got together, we said this was the most talented big three ever. You know what I'm saying? This was supposed to be the team that runs through the league. You know, this was supposed to be the team that just dominates teams game after game after game. But I like looking at it now, it's like this team can't even get on the court together. This team can never play together. This team hasn't shown us a full playoff run together as a group. So it's like, how many more chances are we going to keep giving this team? And for Harden, I understand, bro. Like the Brooklyn fans, you can see him on Twitter. They don't appreciate him at all. They don't.
I do.
No, I'm saying not. I'm saying, but like Brooklyn, they don't.
Oh, yeah, they kill
they
him.
complain about everything. Everything he do is a
Yeah, that's
complaint. Every time he has he can have a bad game. Like every time he has a bad game, it's a complaint. Even though he may have 17 points, but damn near 14, 15 assists, they have a problem with it. Like it's like, damn, bro. Like he can't do nothing wrong. He can't really fully be comfortable in this situation. And it kind of reminds you of Kevin Durant in Golden State. He may not have been playing bad, but he can do so much right, and he still not get that full love that he wanted. So it's like for James Harden, I understand if you leave. I want him to, honestly. Like go be somewhere great somewhere else. But like for Brooklyn, damn, like you just wasted your whole future for a big three that might never win a chip. And it's just like, it's kind of like,
We're like in the Clippers shoes.
no, you're not.
No,
No,
you're not.
The Clippers are worse.
No, I don't think
Yes,
so.
they are.
Yes, they are.
Kawhi
The
and
Clippers
Paul
traded
George.
like
Wait,
7 years of first round picks.
Okay, I
Kawhi,
understand what you mean.
No,
I
stop.
understand-
Stop.
but
No.
I
This is
get
why
his
it's wrong.
sentiment,
Are you
but he's
serious?
wrong.
No,
I
this is
get
why
your
you're wrong. This is why
sentiment,
you're
but
wrong.
he's wrong.
Kawhi and Paul George are locked in. They will be back next year.
Who? Kevin Durant's locked in for 5 years too.
Name another. You can't.
Why can't Kyrie Irving lock in
We
after the
don't know
offseason?
if he's locked in. At
Clippers
least both of
best
them are
chance.
locked in.
And if they're
though.
both not locked in, that's 2 free salary. That's 2
But they're both
salary caps
locked
that are
in,
free.
though.
For
No, they're not
one,
both
for
locked
one.
in.
Kawhi and Paul George are
Oh,
talking about.
no,
They're
I'm
both
talking-
locked in.
Let's get this straight.
Their championship window's closed too, though. I hope you know that.
I
too.
wouldn't say
Who's-
closed.
The Clippers.
How would they close if everybody's coming back
It's
next
not
year?
close.
Let's get this thing straight. Let's
happening.
get this thing right. The Clippers' best chance to win a championship with Kawhi and
Bubble.
PG, that duo, was the bubble year where they blew
Yes.
the 3-1 lead
Yes.
to Denver.
What about last year?
They were favorites that
What about
year.
last year?
Nobody had them.
Kawhi got hurt.
I understand, but you're saying their
But
best
you said
chance
their best year
if
when they
they're
went
healthy-
further last year. That doesn't make sense. That literally doesn't make sense. You said their best chance was in the bubble. Yet
what
last
team was
year
more
they-
talented?
What are you talking about?
What team was more
The bubble
talented?
team was more talented. They
The
just
bubble team?
underperformed.
No. or last
you
year's
can
team?
say that, but last year they went further.
I'm not gonna lie. They should have.
They went further when Kawhi was out.
WCF.
Huh?
They went
did.
further with Kawhi out.
But I'm saying they
did.
still went to the WCF. So
it don't matter, but they didn't have
year.
Kawhi. They wasn't winning without Kawhi, bro.
Yes.
Kawhi Leonard
I
makes that
understand it,
big
but
of a
they didn't
difference.
win with Kawhi.
They blew a 3-1 lead.
My point. He goes out. They went to their first
Okay.
Western
So-
Conference Finals in Clippers
they're
history.
Paul George free throws away
hold
from
on.
1-7.
So Riv is telling me right now. Let me get it straight. What
Don't
you're-
you dare flip. Don't do it.
No,
I
no,
know
no.
what you're gonna do. All right, go
So
ahead.
what you're telling me right now was that the Clippers had a better chance to win last year because they made it to the Western Conference Finals
without their best player.
without Kawhi. So
No.
that means you're telling me
No,
they
no,
had
no.
a better chance to win with Paul George only
let you finish.
than with Kawhi and PG.
Can I say it? Can I speak now?
It's a shame because there's so much I want to say too.
No, what
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying is, you guys are saying their window closed in the bubble. What I'm
I
saying
never said it closed.
No.
It was him. I didn't
Okay,
say
I
it.
well,
said, I
you-
said their best opportunity
was to win in the bubble.
Yes, just like
you
the Nets was
but
last
what
year
I'm
before.
what I'm saying is, all of their guys are locked in for another year or two. So for them, their window isn't closed. They still have an opportunity to go back next year. Kevin Durant is the only one locked in. Patty Mills, we don't know if he's coming back. LA, we don't know if he's coming back. Blake Griffin is probably not coming back. Kyrie, we don't know. Harden, we probably think he's not coming back.
Harden, I'm
the
sold
only
on
guys
Harden
who are
not
coming
coming
back are probably Claxton, maybe Bruce Brown. You have to give him a contract. Joe Harris is
No,
locked in.
we don't
and
have to
Kevin
give
Durant.
Bruce Brown a
All right, so
contract.
he's
We're trying to
gone.
trade him.
That's what- like, so he's gone. Like nobody
We're
in your
trying to trade
team
him.
is like locked in. Morris is locked in. Kawhi's locked in. Paul George's locked in.
Yeah, but
Kennard's
they're getting
locked in.
another
Wait,
year
hold on,
older,
they're
bro.
all locked in.
They're
But
getting
so
another
let me
year
get
older,
this
and the
straight.
West is
Locked in.
getting better
Let me
too,
get this
just like
straight.
the East is getting better.
the West?
Memphis is on the come up, bro.
Who else?
There's a bunch of other. The Warriors are still there. The Suns are
Warriors are
still
getting
there.
older
The
with
Jazz
them.
are still there. The
Jazz get older with them.
So the Warriors window closes after this year. Then
No, I'm not saying that.
All
but
right, then. They just got Clay back.
But you said last week you think if Kawhi comes back this year, they can beat the Jazz. So what's the problem
the Jazz.
here?
I said that they beat the Jazz without Kawhi. So why
say-
the
to
hell
say-
would I say they're
to-
not
so
going to
then
beat them with
what's- so what's-
Kawhi
To
Leonard?
say their window's closed is borderline crazy because last year we saw what they could do when they're all together.
Bro.
Kawhi even leaves. They still beat the number one team in the West. We all sat here together and mutually agreed if Kawhi Leonard was healthy, they go to the championship.
But he
He wasn't. The same thing that happened with Brooklyn.
Let me finish. Regardless of whether that's a fact or
Biased.
not, it's not me biased.
I'm talking
I'm a
about
Laker
him.
fan.
I didn't say anything.
That's
just
completely
now.
biased.
I didn't
'Cause-
say anything.
No, but I'm just saying.
regardless.
I got you right after
I
this.
didn't say anything.
This team has
After you finish, I got a question.
this team has been competitive without Kawhi Leonard this year. You bring
And
back
Paul George.
Correct. Paul George has missed a significant amount of time this year also, and Paul George was playing at an MVP level, not the MVP, but he was playing that great. All-star starter at the minimum. Now, next season, you're telling me it's going to be the exact same team that they went to the Western Conference Finals with, except now you're getting back Kawhi Leonard. To say it's closed is crazy. Closed, crazy.
They had worse fifth seed next year. At worst,
This is
That's
my
a
question.
championship team.
they were a fifth seed last year.
Kawhi and
No, but
Paul
that's a
George
championship
can
team.
They
compete
can
for
be.
a championship.
Who are they beating in the West in a 7-game series?
They can beat Phoenix and they can
could
beat the
beat any-
Jazz.
they could beat
can beat
anyone.
anybody.
So they
I'll
could
be
beat Phoenix,
anyone.
who's gotten better. Phoenix has gotten
they can't beat Phoenix.
drastically
Why can't
better
they
from
beat
last
Phoenix?
year.
If
They're going to
hel-
beat the
if
Warriors.
If the Clippers are
Bro,
healthy, why
by-
can't they beat Phoenix?
by
Like, what on your right
himself-
mind thinks you
by
can't beat
himself-
Phoenix?
So what's on your right mind that when the Brooklyn Nets big three plays, why can't we beat the Bucks?
Because you guys aren't great defensively.
No. That's not even that. We have the highest scoring offense of all time. They can't
Okay,
compete with us on
wait,
offense.
wait, what do you mean?
You have to have Kawhi- you have
last
to have
year,
Kyrie.
you said they was going to win in 6 when the big three was
Wait, we're
healthy.
talking
So
about-
you obviously think that they're better than us.
But this year I said, and we said it was just last week. This
Nah,
week,
bro,
this year,
you be
I know
flip-flopping
just last
on-
week
on,
I
like,
said
players that
this
you
year,
like, bro.
if the Nets are healthy, they're gonna run the table in the East. I said that literally last week on the show. I said it last week.
That's the only-
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
okay.
I literally just said it last week.
I have a
So
question.
What are you talking about?
I have a question. Right now, the Nets and the Clippers' future are both in jeopardy because James Harden might leave Brooklyn, and they traded a lot of assets to get him.
So did the Clippers.
They traded a lot of assets to get him. That big three might fail. High expectations. The duo of Kawhi and PG to this point has failed.
That's a strong take.
That is so
The
strong.
only reason they
It's
signed
failed.
extensions was because they both came
The
off
only
injury.
And the
reason that's
Clippers,
the only reason
the
they signed
Clippers,
extensions.
hold on, hold on.
Paul George
Hold on, let me
Kawhi
finish
Leonard
my
came off
question.
torn
But
ACL.
I'm saying Paul George didn't.
Let me finish my
That's the
question.
only reason they got extended.
The Clippers traded more to get PG than the Nets traded to get James Harden.
Okay, but wait.
They traded a star in
This
Shea.
this is why people
They
don't
traded
understand
7.
that
We
trade.
only
They
traded 4
But hold
picks.
on. They traded. That trade was not to just get Paul George, bro. Kawhi said, in order for me to come to the Clippers, you need to go get Paul George. So in a sense, that trade was to get both of them to come to the Clippers. Because if you don't get Paul George, you don't get Kawhi Leonard.
You traded 7 picks, bro.
Yes, to get Paul George
And
was to
and
get
SGA.
Kawhi in
Now,
the
this
same
is my
trade, bro.
question.
The trade
The
makes
trade was to
sense.
get Kawhi Leonard,
I know
bro.
it
He
makes
wants
sense.
Paul George,
I know
bro.
what you're-
I'm
what's-
not
what?
doubting. I'm not.
Their future is just
nobody.
as much in
Nobody
jeopardy
is
as
doubting.
well.
Nobody is doubting that trade made
crazy.
sense. That was the correct move. But to this point, it's been a failure because their expectations was a
that's
championship.
fair, that's fair.
They haven't,
Okay.
just
agree.
like Brooklyn.
I
That's fair.
agree.
That's fair. That's fair.
So let's just assume that the Nets don't win a championship with their big three. The Clippers never win one with Kawhi and PG. Which one is more disappointing?
That
The
one.
big three.
Considering all the assets that each team
They gave up
traded
7
to
first-round
get the
picks.
It has to be the
players.
big three.
I barely spoke with the whole
ahead, do your
James
thing.
Harden thing. So I'll say this. What's the bigger disappointment? any opinion that is not Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant is insanity. This is the big three that we're talking about being the greatest offensive trio in the history of the game.
Y'all crazy.
It is insane to look at. Listen, because of a plethora of picks that was traded away for Paul George.
What do you mean? First round picks.
But nobody here
They
said
traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, an all-star level player.
Can I finish?
Nobody here said that the Nets wasn't worse, bro.
My point.
Y'all getting worked up for no reason.
No one's getting worked up. The question was, who's a bigger failure? Who's a bigger failure?
Easily,
the
big
great,
three.
arguably the greatest big.
But nobody
three
said
ever.
it wasn't the biggest failure, though.
But
I didn't say that.
That's the question.
No, I said with him.
But that's the question. That he's answering the question.
I was about to say
the question is, who's the bigger failure? Yes, Harden, Kyrie, KD, easily, no doubt. There's no debate. There's no other bigger failure if they don't win
That's
a
the
championship.
biggest failure in NBA history.
And that is underselling it. Like,
NBA history. How's
that undersell? How can you undersell that?
Exactly.
We agree with you.
No, I understand what he's saying.
No, but you can't undersell it if it's
Yeah, he's right. You can't undersell
gonna
that.
be
You
the
can't
undersell
undersell
it.
that.
It might be in sports history.
Oh, I would say your Broncos.
Which one?
The blowout. That's pretty embarrassing. It's one of those moments.
It's fair
No,
enough.
I don't
Nah, just
know.
play it.
But I understand that hurts. That hurt. Regardless of that fact, it's KD who everyone was gassing and coming to the season best player in the league. James Harden, top 5 player in the league. Kyrie Irving, the best skilled position, the best skilled basketball player in the history of the game. All three of them are together on the same team. They're supposed to have the highest rated offense in NBA history.
They do.
What have they done?
They haven't played
But
much games
for
together.
one, this is the difference. The Nets didn't win a championship last season, because they were hurt. The
Same can be
Clippers,
said for the Clippers.
the first year they were put together.
I agree.
Paul
They choked.
George choked.
No
the
doubt.
Lakers lived up to their bill. They made it to Western Conference Finals. The Clippers didn't live up to their expectations.
Correct.
It wasn't because of injuries. The Nets would have won last year had it not been for injuries.
Oh
Let's get
my
that straight.
God.
And when
Why
you
are you so
when
against
you
that?
and when you take into account the assets that the Clippers had to trade to get Paul George, yeah, I get it. They had to get Paul George to get Kawhi, but they traded 7 first-round picks, I believe. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's an all-star player. They also included Danilo Gallinari, who was huge in OKC's playoff run that year, or their playoff run, that year when they made the playoffs. The Nets traded Karis LeVert, bro. And Jared Allen, huge.
He's good.
Yeah,
Very good.
huge.
No picks?
They
Four
traded pick
picks.
swaps, though. Most of them are pick
swaps,
swaps.
You're
Yeah.
talking very, very lightly on Karis LeVert, who you once said is on the level of Chris Middleton.
He
I never said that, bro.
He never said that.
I never said that.
Wait.
I said that as a second option. Karis LeVert can do what Chris Middleton does.
Tomato.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay,
it's
so
different.
wait. So let me ask you a question, because you said, like, the first bubble, obviously.
And just because I said that, we see what Karis LeVert is now as a main option in Indy. Like, come on, bro.
Inconsistent.
Like, come on, bro.
Listen,
They traded
I could have told you
LeVert.
that though. Yes, and I agree. I understand. Yes.
And Torian Prince.
Yeah, like they traded nothing.
But Jared Allen, like that hurts because
No,
now
Jared
they
Allen-
desperately
Jared
need a big.
That
No,
one
I
hurt.
understand.
That one hurt.
Need a big.
That
They really
hurts to
just
this day.
traded Jared Allen for Harden, bro. Straight up. They really
They traded a few picks, didn't they?
traded a few
Four
picks,
pick
but
swaps.
Most of them were pick swaps, bro. So they're still have their first round pick. The Clippers this year,
I'm gonna be
if they don't make the playoffs, OKC owns that pick.
I'm gonna be 100 with you. Like, you keep saying those 7 picks, and I get it,
That's huge.
but it don't matter as long as you get Kawhi Leonard. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
Oh, it do, because when
it doesn't.
Kawhi's 34 and Paul George is old and they don't
It
make
doesn't.
the playoffs, the OKC's gonna have a lottery pick.
I get what you're saying, but you make that gamble 10 times out of 10. It's Kawhi Leonard.
I'm
bro.
not saying you
So
don't
what,
make it.
you make the gamble for Harden too, then, right?
Of course.
All right.
But I'm saying when you
No,
take
it makes
into
sense.
account
Same
That
page.
wasn't the question.
When you
The
take
question
into
was,
account-
who's the bigger disappointment.
when you take into account the assets,
it's the Nets.
when you take into account the assets both teams had to trade, I think the Clippers are in far worse position for the future than the Nets.